Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hi everyone. Today in this video, we are going to learn the revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities. In previous video, we have already learned all the types of reserves and their entries at the time of reconstitution of the firm. Reconstitution in the sense while the profit sharing ratio will be changed or while any new partner come into your partnership business or any existing partner take retirement from your business or in case of death of any partner. In this situation there will be the reconstitution of the partnership firm. So at the time of reconstitution of firm, the value of assets or liabilities will also be increase or decrease. In this video we will learn if the value of asset or liabilities will increase or decrease, then what type of journal entries we will pass here and what type of ledger we will create here. First of all, we have to make an entry for increase in asset. Suppose for increase in assets, if your asset value increases at the time of reconstitution of the firm, then what would be happen here? We will make an entry which is assets account debit to revaluation account. This entry we will pass. You can write here narration also being asset value increased. In case of decrease in the value of asset, then this entry will be opposite. Revaluation account debit to assets account. If there is one asset, then only asset you can write. If there is two or three assets, then you can write assets. In third situation, if there is increase in the value of liability for increase in the amount of liability, in this situation what entry we will pass here? As we know that according to the modern approach, increase in liability will be credit and decrease in liability will be debit. So here if the value of liability will increase, in this situation what entry we will pass here? Revaluation account debit, revaluation account debit to liability account. If it is decrease in liability for decrease in the amount of liability, in this way what entry you will pass? For decrease in liability we will make an entry which is liability account debit to revaluation account. This entry we will pass for decrease in liability. If in question there is mentioned any unrecorded asset or any unrecorded liability, then for the unrecorded asset what entry you will pass? For unrecorded assets, the entry we will pass here unrecorded assets account debit, unrecorded assets account debit to revaluation account. To revaluation account. In case of any unrecorded liability, what entry you will pass here? For unrecorded liability we will pass here the entry revaluation account debit to unrecorded liability account. At last, we have to identify that on which side the revaluation account balance is more, debit side or credit side. If the revaluation account of credit balance is more, in this way what entry we will pass here? Because if revaluation account credit balance is more, it means there is a profit, and if revaluation account of debit balance is more, it means there is a loss, and this profit or loss will be credited or debited to the partner's capital account. So in this way, what entry you will pass here? If revaluation balance of credit side is more, then it will be the profit. For profit, we will make an entry which is revaluation account debit to partner's capital account. To partner's capital account. If revaluation balance of debit side is more, in this situation, what would be happen? This is the loss. So this will be debited from the partner's capital account. We will make an entry which is partner's capital account debit to revaluation account. Revaluation account. These are the general entries related to the revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities. This topic is too much important because this topic will also be utilized in next chapter at the time of admission of new partner, and then after at the time of retirement of any partner, and then after at the time of death of any partner. On next 3 chapters, you will utilize this topic. So this is very important topic. If we talk about the ledger part of the revaluation account, this is the general part. If we talk about the ledger part of revaluation account, then what would be happen? Ledger part is also very simple. This is the ledger format of revaluation account. If you will solve it through the ledger book, then what entry you will pass here? First of all, we have mentioned for increase in asset account debit to revaluation account. Then if it is increase in asset, you will show here by asset account, whatever amount will be mentioned. If it is decrease in asset, then you will show here to asset account amount like this. This is the increase and this is the decrease part. We talk about the liability, then increase in liability, it will be debit to liability account. Increase amount. If we talk about decrease in liability, you will write here to liability account. Here it will be decrease. If there is any unrecorded asset, you will record here by unrecorded assets account amount like this. If there is any unrecorded liability, you will write here to unrecorded liability amount is here. Now at last what you have to do? You have to balance this. On which side amount is more, debit side or credit side? If credit side is more, then it is profit. You will write here, you will distribute this profit amount among the partners. It means this amount of profit will be credited to the partner's capital account. You will write here to partners capital account. And if debit side is more balance, it means it's loss. This loss will be debited to the partner's capital account by partner's capital account, like this. This is the general and ledger part of revaluation of assets and liabilities. In next video, we will learn the practical problem related to the revaluation of assets and reassessment of liability.